I'm just like you, you're just like me. We can't stop watching these movies. Is it a curse? No, it's a dream come true. Yes, I'm a Barbie girl like you. Hello, and thank you for joining us for another meeting of the Barbie Council. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Brianna.
And every month we're diving into a new movie from the ever expanding Barbie cinematic universe. While our meetings are available to the general public, the content is not suitable for children. Today, we're covering Barbie and the Three Musketeers. And this one is great. We
Yeah,
have the return of Tim Curry one final
thank God.
time
I
as the
can't believe he's
villain.
only in 2 movies, though.
It's crazy. It feel watching these movies so many times as kids, I think we got used to hearing his voice a lot and it felt like he was in a lot more movies. So now to realize that he is only in Nutcracker and Three Musketeers is crazy. What's
I
even
know, I could
crazier
have
to me
sworn
is
he was in more.
they brought him back once. Like I get with Nutcracker because that was Barbie's first big movie. So like and those other early movies had big name actors coming
Yeah.
in to do the villains. But now we're on like the 16th movie. We're like full into just like the straight to DVD movies thing. It's not a big deal anymore. I'm surprised they got Tim Curry back, to be honest.
I know. He was just like, I just gotta, I
I have to
miss
be
the Barbie
there.
universe.
The Three
Yeah.
Musketeers, it really speaks to me.
hmm I know it seems kind of like a really random movie for him to be a part of, but I love it. I'm really glad he's in it.
Yeah, he elevates this movie for sure. We also have the
Definitely.
return of another Amazon interview.
Yes, more.
So we had one with Barbie: A Christmas Carol, and two movies later, we're back at it again with this one. So we've got Barbie in universe talking with Leia Weathersby. Still don't know what she's up to these days.
Yeah, I'm
If she
curious.
is worked her way up to a high ranking position at Amazon 15 years later. But these always have really interesting little tidbits because this is kind of where we learn before Fashion Fairy Tale, where they explicitly say that Barbie is acting in these movies, that she is also acting in like these movies as well. So in this one, Barbie is acting as Corrine in the Three Musketeers, but it's not just her, it's all of her friends
Yeah, yeah. And in the
acting in this
last
movie
interview,
too.
she talked about how her friend Teresa was acting in Diamond Castle alongside of her. And now in this one, she's got Nikki, Summer, and Teresa again acting alongside her as the other musketeers.
Yeah.
So this
She got
begs the
all of them
question,
together.
yeah, uh, so are all the characters in Barbie movies played by her friends?
Well, at least some of them. In the interview, Leia Weathersby's like she asks about it as this is your first time starring in a movie with Teresa, Nikki, and Summer. It is the first time that they are all together, but she has seemingly starred with them, each of them on separate occasions. But it's only
Yes.
like one time.
So Summer was in Magic of Pegasus
Yes, I believe so.
as her sister, Brietta.
But that one
The
wasn't like acknowledged at all. Some of these later ones, like Nikki was at the end of A Christmas Carol. She showed up at the end of the movie to be like, "Oh, hey, you need to come down to this party or whatever." Um, and
but
then
she
Diamond
wasn't
Castle, it was
acting.
like they they appeared at the start of the movie. But I did Magic of Pegasus. Did she show up at the beginning before they talk
Well,
about the?
I don't think so. And she was a horse most of the time.
That's true. She wasn't actually a human for most of that.
Huh. And then also like Kelly appears in the movies too. Like obviously at the beginning when Barbie is telling her the morality tales, but then in the actual story within a story, like there's the characters who look like Kelly. And now I'm like, okay, is Kelly playing these characters?
Yeah, I don't know. Like in the credits, they acknowledge that it's Barbie as somebody. But I guess that's only because Barbie's the only recognizable one, because they don't mention, like in the official credits, like, oh, this is Nikki as whoever. It's only Barbie. But it is them. It's the same, even when they don't acknowledge it. Like in Christmas Carol, I don't think they really like put it at the forefront, but they have the same voice
No.
actor, so it's the same person. They've got like a section at the beginning or the end where it's in the real world. This one's not. This
Mm-hmm.
one's just like all in, but then it's still people acting in it. But
Yeah.
then when she's like, let's say she's recounting the story to Kelly or whatever, is that the movie? And then there's another movie within the movie that is the story that she's telling Kelly. Is she, because
Okay,
she's acting in those. She's acting in those movies. She like, or some of
is
them.
she acting when she's talking to Kelly?
Or when she's telling this story, instead of telling this story, does she just like put the VHS tape into the VHS player and is like, "All right, Kelly, watch this. This is the story that I was talking about."
Yeah, so I made this whole movie so I could teach you a lesson. Is that
I
what's happening?
a very noble act.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. But then some of the
Or
universes are connected, like the snow globe, so
oh my god, yeah. Yeah.
maybe that was
So
just because
she's
it was laying around. I'm like, oh, we can just use this as a prop in in the
uh-huh.
movie.
And then some of the movies are about Barbie and her sisters, like some of the later movies. So what's that? Is that like
Reality
a
TV,
reality
reality
TV
movies, I guess.
documentary? It's unclear.
Because then she's like vlogging in the later ones.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's it's weird.
Yeah.
When you're trying to
Yeah.
have this universe outside of the movies, but then she's acting in the movies, but then some of the movies are in the universe that she is already in, but some of them are not.
What's real?
And then she also mentioned that they went like on location to film in Paris. I'm like, that was not Paris.
That's not
Because
Paris.
it wasn't supposed to look like the Paris of like today, because it was
It's not
set like way
modern.
back in the day. So it's like you didn't need to go to Paris, because filming in Paris wouldn't get you anything. Like it doesn't look like how it's supposed to look in this
No,
movie. It's
they film in Paris later in Barbie: A Fashion Fairy Tale. That's
in
modern
modern
Paris.
Paris.
This I don't know where the fuck they are. It's not it's not Paris.
Like, yeah, why did you need to go on location for that? I don't know. So
Yeah,
that she
it's
could go
like some
shopping,
medieval
because she wanted to go
town.
shopping.
Oh yeah, that was a big part of the interview. So fun. Oh, and also she had like it was her 50th anniversary or
Yeah,
something and
Barbie's 50 years old, 50th birthday.
she looks amazing.
She does. Still looks amazing. She's, let's see, 2000. So she's like 65 or so now.
Wow.
Looking
What's her
great.
secret?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Timeless.
Yeah, yeah. But there was like a fashion show specifically for her in the real world.
But which world? Is it the
Uh,
real world or the real
our
Barbie world? Is our world Barbie world?
yes. I don't know.
She lives amongst us.
It's just Barbie's world and we're living in it.
And then, of course, we got the obligatory plug for the next movie that's coming out in like 4 months. This
Mhm.
one for Mermaid Tale, where we're getting into like
Ooh.
this is when it starts to get kind of confusing, because she also talks about, oh, this is filmed in like my home area of Malibu, and this is when it starts to like get a little bit weird of what's she acting in, what is maybe reality movies, what's
Mhm.
happening here.
It gets trippy.
Yeah, I don't know. Great interview by Leah Weathersby.
Yeah, thank you.
Once
Doing
again, she
God's
just like
work.
hit up Barbie on her phone and was just chatting to
Maybe
her.
maybe Leah's one of Barbie's friends.
Does she appear in any of the movies? We'll
I
have to
don't know.
keep our eyes and ears out for Leia Weathersby.
Yeah.
See if see if she appears in any of these movies. So that's the Amazon interview. Do you want to get into the actual movie,
I would love
Barbie and
to.
the Three Musketeers? So this is a classic movie. It's going off of the classic story, um, but of course things change a little bit.
What? It's not the exact same story as the Three Musketeers, the classic?
Well, some of it's the same. I'm sure that the animal sidekicks are exactly the same.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, Miette,
definitely.
the little cat. This is when we get into the talking animals again.
Oh boy.
Uh, Miette is not as bad as I was expecting her to be.
Yeah, she's annoying, but could have been a lot worse.
Her story is kind of, you know, meaningless, really,
It's
and it's
just
not
kind of
that
this.
front and center.
No, no, she's kind of in the background, and Corinne, our main character, wants to be a musketeer. She's like following in her father's footsteps, and then the cat's whole motivation is also to be a
A
mus
musketeer,
a
or as the
musketeer.
pig, this disgusting pig at their farm says, a muscatastrophe. A really
Yeah, he
good
was really proud of that
joke.
one.
Speaking of Corinne's father, so yeah, she wants to be a musketeer to follow in her father's footsteps. They don't say what happened to him. I don't think. I assume he died, but
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is her dad is D'Artagnan, who's an actual like the I think the main character in Three Musketeers. I'm not an expert on the
I
Three
am also not an
Musketeers.
expert in the Three Musketeers. This is the extent of my knowledge.
That's all you really need to know.
is Barbie and the Three Musketeers.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think he was like the main guy. It does seem like he's dead. So I don't know what happens at the end of the original Three Musketeers. Maybe he dies.
Maybe
I don't know.
they need to make a prequel to this movie.
Yeah. About
I
Barbie's dad.
I need to know what happened. So yeah, now the family is like destitute on this farm.
But not really, because this farm is fucking huge.
I guess
This
they're like land poor. They have this field, but they're not making any money off of it. If they
yeah,
sell it,
yeah.
they have nowhere to live.
I
I also
see.
don't know how much is a lot of money, but when Corinne is leaving to go to Paris to become a musketeer, she's given 15 crowns by
Ooh.
her mother, and she's like, "You need this money. Like, oh, this money is the difference between you starving to death and you like living or something."
Yeah, it made it seem like this was all the money they had, too.
But you can tell that the
Um,
mom is weathered by this living situation. Those bags under her eyes are huge.
yeah, I mean, she still looks great,
Yeah,
but she
that's
looks tired.
a lifetime of stress
Yeah.
once dad's dead.
Also, I love how this is really refreshing. Like the mom is really supportive and is like, "Yeah, go out and become a musketeer." Like I feel like usually moms in the Barbie universe, they're either like overly protective or dead, just like out of the picture.
Yeah, to be honest though, I could see why she would be more protective if she lost her husband, like he died in the line of duty, and now her daughter is going to do the same thing. I could see her putting up more of a resistance, but she really doesn't.
She doesn't. She's just like, "Yeah, yeah, go for it."
She's like, "Oh, do you really have to?" It's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay."
All right.
And she knew that that was going to be the case because she already had the 15 crowns like set up ready to go. Like, here you
Oh yeah,
go.
yeah.
Because
Yep, she
when
was
Corinne
prepared.
turns 17, she's going to Paris. So she heads out. Of course, little cat friend's gotta come along. And did you
Oh, this
notice the song that plays during this traveling sequence to Paris?
you bet I did. It's the same song that played in which
It
Mycene
was
movie
Jammin' in
was it?
Jamaica. This
It
was the
was
song
Jammin'
that
in
played
Jamaica.
when they were getting the money together to go to
Yeah,
Jamaica.
that's right. It was I think it's called like Making My Way or something.
Which, I mean, it makes sense in both aspects. They're making their way to Jamaica, and then Corinne's making her way to Paris. It works out.
Yeah, why not use it in both
I guess, is it
movies?
okay to reuse songs if they were used in different like properties. Like
Mm.
my scene is different than Barbie. Like I feel like we don't really hear the same like original songs being played in different Barbie movies. I feel like those are always new. It
Yeah,
feels like.
yeah. I know. Maybe there's been some instances of this happening, but I can't remember. I definitely recognize this one though.
Yeah. As soon as it played, I'm like, wait a minute. This
Huh.
is this sounds really familiar. Yep, yep, jamming in
Yeah.
Jamaica.
Yep. It's a great song. This
It is a
movie's
great
got
song.
some good tunes
It
too. There's some
does.
other good
Yeah,
ones
there's
in
some high
there.
quality tracks in here.
It's not a musical, but there's music in it.
And it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this traveling scene, they end up at this orchard like right before it goes to Paris. I have not she did I don't think she hasn't really eaten too much on this trip and she's poor as
Yeah.
evident by the family situation. And they get to this orchard and she tries to feed me she just feeds her cat this apple and the cat just like grabs it with her. It's really weird.
Well, and how
But
she gets the apple is she like vaults off her horse, does like a bunch of flips. She's just constantly flipping in this movie.
any
Like,
opportunity, even when it was not useful in any way, she's doing like backflips to
yeah,
do
she
stuff.
doesn't
It's
walk. She just flips everywhere she goes. So she flips like high up into this tree, like to the top of the tree. I'm like, "Girl, there's apples lower down. You didn't have to
yeah, you
do
can just
that."
walk to the bottom of the tree and just grab one off the branch. There are so
Uh-huh.
many apples in that orchard. It's crazy.
You did not
So many
have to do
options.
that. She's
But then
so
she
extra.
goes through all this trouble of grabbing the apples and then she doesn't even eat one. She's like, "Oh my god, there's Paris," and then just leaves. Like maybe you should eat before you go into Paris. You have no money.
Yeah, yeah, take advantage of these apples.
So she makes it into Paris. Again, this is like time period Paris, so there's no way that they film this in Paris. I'm I'm calling BS on that, Barbie. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
it's
that's a lie.
it is just this is not true. Um so she gets there and she needs to drop off her horse Alexander, who is also great. Love Alexander. He is also
Yes.
like incredibly wise, and everybody knows that he's wise because the
Well,
mom
he's
says that Alexander knows the way to Paris.
well,
Like
he was her dad's horse, so he's like a musketeer horse. So he's like the real deal.
right, but how much of the traveling is the person riding the horse leading the horse along the way, and how much is the horse just running on autopilot? Like could D'Artagnan the dad just be like sitting on there and the horse like take me to Paris and then the
The horse
horse
like, "I
just
got you."
goes?
It's like self-driving car.
It basically, yeah, it just knows.
Well, also these animals talk, so they're pretty smart. I feel like
They
they know
are.
where they're going.
Get into that in a second. I've got questions about how much
Oh.
these animals understand. So she gets to the stable in town and needs to drop off Alexander, and we get this character introduction that's seemingly meaningless.
Uh-huh.
Like it's Serge who works at the castle, but he's working in the center of town at the stables. What
Yeah,
is
that's
this
not the
like?
castle, buddy.
But then there's another stable within the castle grounds. Like she dropped Alexander off at this stable in the center of town. And then later on in the movie, when we see Alexander again, he's at a different stable that's like
Oh.
on the castle grounds.
I didn't
How
realize it
did
was a different stable.
yeah, how did it move for one? Why is there a castle stable in the center of town that he works at two stables?
Okay.
And three,
Yeah, maybe
why did we mention his name? Because I think this was the only time that she interacted with Serge at all?
well, yeah, well, there's like I think twice, because when she drops off Alexander and then when she picks up Alexander again, I think he's
Oh, was
there.
Serge there? Did she talk to him?
Yeah. Yes? I don't remember. If she did, it was not significant. Like, and his character design makes you think that he's gonna be an important character, or at least
Yeah.
gonna be there a little bit more than he is. Like, he's got this great big, like, floppy hat with a feather, and he's got a great fit.
Well, and this whole like
But
backstory too. It's like, oh, I'm Serge. I work for the castle, the stables. It's like, okay, well,
yeah, tell me
we'll
more.
definitely be. It wasn't just like, oh, can I store my horse here? Here's some money. It was like, no, we got to know that this guy's Serge.
Yeah, he's got lines. Also, I'm pretty sure like Serge is usually pronounced like Sergey, but I don't know. I guess it's just Serge.
It is Serge in this universe.
Yeah, I also want to say he was my tag.
Okay, you are Serge or
Serge.
Sergey.
Yeah. Or Sergey.
Is it because you work at
I'll
the castle?
yeah, I do work at the castle. I work at multiple stables. I don't know if you
Okay,
knew.
yeah.
I just
Wow.
I just liked his vibe. I was just like vibing with him. He's fashion goals, honestly. So
He's pretty chill.
yeah. Yeah, he is
He was
chill.
just kind of
He's
hanging
really
out in
nice.
front of the stables. And he
Yeah.
didn't
And then
question
when
anything. He was just like, "Oh yeah, I'll take it."
no. Yeah, when she was like, I'm gonna be a musketeer, he's like, oh, you a musketeer? Well, good luck.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, go
He's
for
like
it.
the only male character in this movie to not be sexist.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, and speaking of the sexism in this movie, I feel like it's the first Barbie movie that actually like tackles sexism in that way. Like the
Were they
previous
very
Barbie
overt?
movies, yeah, yeah, and the previous ones, it's like, well, girls can do anything. It's very they're all very girl power, but this one had like men kind of challenging that and being like, oh, you can't do this because you're a girl, and then Corinne and the other girls would stand up to them, which I thought was it was really good. I enjoyed that. They kind of tackled it more head on.
Yeah, they actually acknowledged it,
Yeah, yeah.
which I think is good. But yeah, Surge was just like, yeah, okay. Good luck.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, and then he
So
disappears.
bye. Bye, Serge. Love your hat.
Yeah, we get more sexism. We see some of these musketeers just having a show outside,
Yeah,
hanging
they're just
out.
brawling.
Um, and then yeah, so this is also when we get introduced to Brutus, the
Oh,
dog, who
no.
is the pet of uh,
Tim
Tim
Curry.
Curry, Philippe, who of
Phillipe.
course is the villain because it's Tim Curry. So
Yes.
this dog, I never know if these animals like fully understand English or not. Brutus definitely does. Brutus can understand human speech and English completely,
Yeah.
and also has his own motives alongside Philippe. Like he is like the
Yeah.
right hand man, but is a dog. Because there's a moment, and I also don't know exactly why he got mad. I guess because he's also sexist, but like there's a point where Corinne's like, "Oh yeah, I want to be a musketeer," and she's like going to go up and challenge this other musketeer guy to the duel that they're having in the street. And as when she says that, you can tell that Brutus is like he understood it and is visibly upset to the point where he goes and sabotages her by dropping these barrels for her to trip on. Like he heard that,
Yeah.
understood it completely, did not like it, and then sabotaged things.
Yeah, he's got the whole thought process going. And he wasn't sent there by Tim Curry.
No, he was just
Like,
there.
he was
Why
just
was he there?
there.
Why was Brutus there?
It's
Because
a great question.
Philippe rolls in later when she goes to the castle, just a little bit later, he is there, but he was inside the castle and he was about to leave. Why was, I guess, because there's no animals, there's no pets. But then if it's a royal pet, wouldn't they like make an exception? I don't know.
Yeah, I think. Well, doesn't Brutus hang out in the castle?
Does he? Probably.
Yeah, he
Maybe he
like
just needed
leap.
some fresh air.
He was going on a little self care walk.
But yeah,
But yeah,
he definitely understands completely.
he does, and he did this on his own volition. It wasn't because like the villain told him to. He just like had it out for Corinne and the cat for some reason.
Yeah, what was like because he mentions later, like, oh, you know, yeah, Philippe is evil and he's going to take over, but Corinne had nothing to do with that at that time. Like, it's not
Yeah,
like she was just like, I'm going to be a musketeer. It wasn't like I'm going to stop Philippe or I know his plans or anything. Like, he was just
right.
mad that she wanted to be a musketeer. Why?
Yeah, the dog's just like, I fucking hate women, I guess.
Brutus seems like that type.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, the master's the
definitely.
same way. Philippe is the same way. Once they meet, he also is very condescending about it as well. So maybe it's
Yeah, I
just
mean most of the men are.
the upbringing for
Mhm.
Brutus.
Also, this dog's character design, there's something wrong. Like, I really hate looking at him. It's got like murder in its eyes. Like, it looks like it
The
crawled out
villain.
of hell. It's he's so thick too.
he is
He's like
he is pretty
beefy.
thick.
It's like a cut of meat.
I mean, I guess that's what you want from like the villain dog,
Oh yeah, they nailed it.
someone to like defend. But yeah, I do not like Brutus.
No.
Just because I don't understand his motive. Like, why? And then the cat, like, I guess it just doesn't like cats, and so it's always beefing with Miette about being a musketeer or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and the dog steals Corinne's letter
The letter of
even though
introduction, yeah.
yeah, so he knows about this
But yeah,
letter?
again, like, why does
How?
he care?
What?
What is the
Why?
point? And look, like, let's say we're going down the like extreme sexism angle here. If Brutus thought that women like couldn't be musketeers, wouldn't he want her to become a musketeer so then he would think that it's easier for Philippe to take over because he is thinking that they are not as
Oh.
qualified to be musketeers?
Wow, that's big brain. Yeah.
I guess he's not that
No, he's not
not
that
that
smart.
sexist slash cunning, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. He didn't think
I,
it
I just don't
through.
understand what he's doing. Because it's not, yeah, he's not following master's orders or anything.
Yeah. How does he know what's in this letter? Can he read?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the length of his human knowledge, but it seems like a lot. He at least understands speech. I don't know if he's literate.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, he has his own plans. It's just weird.
Yeah, because we're introduced to the villain sidekick, like villain animal sidekick before the villain,
Yeah, before Philippe. Yeah.
which is interesting.
Confusing. I,
Um,
I don't really like
yeah,
Brutus. I don't get
you
it.
don't.
No, I do not. But Corinne gets her letter back and is able to go meet with Monsieur Treville, who is the leader of the Musketeers. He isn't as like overtly sexist. He's more so like, oh, you need all of this experience, but then does not explain how you would get any of that experience. He's
Yeah, he
like, you
just
need
kind of
to do
shuts her
noble
down.
deeds and you need to serve. Like, does that mean that she needs to serve in the royal army or something? Like,
But
I
it
don't
sounds
know.
like he's not gonna let her do that, or maybe that's a separate thing. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
It seems like he's just trying to find a nice way to let her
to say
down.
it. Like,
Yeah,
you can't be a
yeah.
musketeer.
The dog chases the cat again, and
We gotta
then
have it because dogs hate
yeah,
cats, and yeah.
yeah,
And how else would she get introduced to her friends, her friends in real life?
yeah. Nikki, Teresa, Summer. So we have Vivica, Aramina, and Renee are the three characters. One of them is like a seamstress, another one is like as a dancer, and then the other one plays the violin. And they all work as maids in the palace.
And they all want to be musketeers secretly as well. What are the odds?
Yes. Yeah, though their motivations for becoming musketeers aren't really the greatest. Like
Musketeers
Aaron
rock.
Yeah, yeah. That's what wait, Renee is like musketeers rock. And then Aramina just wants to be a musketeer to get the prince's attention.
Always got to
And
have that
then
character. There's always that one where it's just like, I
ugh,
just want to get the prince or whatever.
yeah. And then Vivica is like, oh, the fashion is so great. Like,
There's no
girl,
noble reasons. Corinne is the only one where it's like, oh, I want to follow in my father's footsteps and, you know, serve and
save
do all of this
people.
stuff. And it's just like musketeers rock. These dresses are cool.
The
Prince.
prince is hot.
Yeah. Is he
Eh, I don't know.
debatable?
Yeah. He's a prince, though.
But yeah, they all hate her because she ran into them and dropped them in mud and threw them in flower fields and things, flower bushes. But
I
then
mean, it's all
after,
Brutus's fault.
yeah, come on, Brutus. But then after scrubbing the floor with a toothbrush and then having a moment where where the chandelier falls because Philippe's trying to
Oh,
assassinate the prince, and then all of these shards come flying off of it, and they all just do these like really extra moves to break it, and they're like, oh, well, now we're friends.
yep, yep. That's when they realize they all want to be musketeers.
Yeah. So out of
Yeah.
all of those, there's a couple of like things that are flying, like glass and stuff. Like, oh, that's you don't want that hitting you. What
No.
was going to happen if that like burnt out candle hit him? It would have
Well, it
hit
was
him, and then
kind of like metal. It was like a metal
no, there was a different
piece.
one. So there was another one where it was
Oh.
like metal with the candle on it, but then there was just one that was just the candle. Like that would have just
No.
like bounced off of you and just fall into the ground. Yeah, the other two, the one where it's actually like the metal piece that's holding it, yeah, and then the glass. Okay, I didn't understand the piece of candle. I don't think that was very
Yeah.
dangerous.
Maybe she didn't have time to think. She was just like, there's something flying at me. I gotta take care of it.
That's true.
Also, the prince doesn't seem too bothered by the assassination attempt. He was just like, oh,
I mean,
uh-oh.
he didn't even realize it was an assassination attempt. He was just like, oh, maybe
Yeah.
something happened up there that made it fall because he's like a nerd, and so he's
Yeah.
just very analytical about all of these things.
Yeah. So all he cares about is his flying machine. He
Yeah.
is like making a hot air balloon.
Speaking of the flying machine, he is in this first scene where we're introduced to him. He is testing out this tiny, like replica of a hot air balloon with like a small candle in it that's flying. The
Yeah,
next
little
day,
prototype.
he has the whole thing done.
Dude's fast.
Like, what? Like, he's just. How did he go from this tiny prototype to building a complete modern looking hot air balloon?
Also, when he was in it, he didn't seem to know how it worked.
Even though he had the test where it was like, oh, the flames go in there and it's going up, and now we just blow it up onto a bigger scale.
Uh
Is
huh.
that not how that works?
He seemed a little clueless.
But not clueless enough to not be able to build the thing.
Yeah, I know. He did that in such a short time.
He's
Mhm.
got
He
talent, though.
doesn't. I know. He doesn't really care about being king, and
That's how
I don't
all of
know.
these princes are. It's the same thing with like Island Princess. It's just, oh, I want to go off and do my own thing. I want to be inventor. Although they don't
Yeah.
really explain that at all at the end. Like he becomes the king after the plot. Spoiler alert: he lives.
What?
He doesn't seem phased by the fact that now he is the king.
Yeah, I guess he has
He's.
time for both. His
I mean, if you're the king, you can
science,
decree that you have time for your own stuff, right? You have that power.
I
You're the
suppose.
top. Like you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, I was thinking like it might be better for somebody else to be king. Not Philippe, but like this dude doesn't really give a shit about being king.
Well, it's
So I
all the
don't know how.
bloodline stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I don't know how good of a ruler he's going to be.
Yeah, maybe not that great.
Oh
For
well.
Philippe's plan, so obviously he just wants to kill the prince so that he can be the king. Okay, yeah, that's run of the mill standard stuff.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah,
at the end
classic.
he's getting all mad that he's like, "Oh, I raised you this whole time just so that like you could be king and not me." Did he just assume that like I don't know, he was going to like die of some disease as a child and then he could take over? Like
I
he's
mean, it
been in this for
happens.
a long time. Philippe has been dealing with Prince Louis for years.
Oh yeah,
Like
and he's so done
you
with his bullshit.
you knew the deal the whole time. Like it's not like he thought he was going to be king and then it was like, "Oh no, it's actually going to be Louis." Like this was the plan from the beginning.
Right, because they're cousins. It's not like he was in line for the throne. He was like the advisor, the regent.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did he think was going to happen?
And if
Or
that
was
was the
this
case,
his
why not,
plan all along?
I don't know, why not kill him earlier when he's like a child and was just like, oh yeah, he died of like, I don't know, kids get into weird stuff, you know.
Yeah,
Easier to
yeah.
sweep that under the rug.
Yeah, if he was the next in line, why didn't he just kill him sooner? Yeah, he didn't
Maybe he
he
needed to
didn't
wait until he could
plan.
get help of this eye patch pirate looking guy.
Who keeps failing at assassinating
Well,
him.
his only strategy is to cut rope. That is the
That's all he
strategy
knows.
for both plans. For the plan for the chandelier, it was like cut the rope that's holding the chandelier. And then
Yeah,
later
yeah.
they try and mess with his hot air balloon test by cutting the rope again so that it would like fly off and he would get stuck up
Uh-huh.
there and die. That is until the end of the movie, that's the only plan that this guy has.
Yeah, well, and then Tim Curry is like, "Well, you failed, so I'm gonna have to do this myself." Because there aren't any more ropes to cut, so they got to think of
Yeah.
something
At
different.
this masquerade ball, there's no rope. So you are useless to me.
Yeah.
So to become a musketeer, they all have to be trained by the master grandma over here,
Mhm.
who has got some crazy moves.
Yeah. Well, and she leads them into the secret, like a hole in the wall, and then down into her dungeon.
Yeah, the musketeers dungeon.
Yeah, there was a great moment where she pulls a lever and the stairs turn into a slide.
And then
It was
she
so
goes into like
fun.
full on slide coffin mode, like is super chill sliding
Yeah, she's
down
done
this
this so
thing,
many times.
and everybody else is freaking out.
Mhm.
So in her day, she wanted to be a musketeer. Can't do that because you're a woman. And then
Yeah.
it is still that way today. So now she's got to train them all up. And there's all of these weapons that they get to choose from. Which do you think is the worst weapon? So we've got the
Hmm.
sword. The sword is
Yeah,
the
seems
obvious
that's
one.
pretty good.
Corinne gets that one, but then they're also all training with the sword. I don't really get it. But in the initial point that they grab the weapons, Corinne grabs the sword, and then the rest of them grab, instead of grabbing a bow for like a bow and arrow, we get
Uh-huh.
a slingshot,
Uh-huh.
a fan, and then these like ribbon things.
Yep.
And she's
These are the
showing how good the
most
ribbons are by like making candles go out. It's like you can just go up to the candles and blow on
you
them
can
and
you
they'll
can
go
blow them
out as
out.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Which do you reckon is the worst one?
It's tough. I mean, I'd say the slingshot is the best of the three. You can actually like hit things
I
with it.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what you're able to put in there. Do they like go out beforehand and just like stuff their pockets full of rocks
Yeah.
and then go in?
Yeah. Yeah, the ribbon and the fans seem pretty darn useless. Like the fans are good at deflecting, I guess. Like she caught like daggers in them.
Are the fans made of something not
They
like a
just look
regular
like
fan? Because the
they
sword
look
could
like
just go right
fans.
through them.
Yeah.
Like if
Maybe
it's
they're
if
a
it's just
little
a
bit
normal paper fan.
maybe they're a little bit more hardy. I don't know.
I think with the ribbon, I don't know how you get good enough to be able to like whip it around these swords and grab it all like that. That seems pretty crazy. But if you're able to
Yeah.
do that, I think it's more useful because
Than
you
the
have
fans.
more distance between your enemy. Like with you have to
Mhm.
get up close for combat with these fans. Like one wrong move, you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with the ribbons, I guess you're further away. But then the fans can also be used as boomerangs.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, maybe the fans are better. Maybe the ribbon is the worst. Like if you imagine these weapons being used in reality, I feel like the ribbon would be the worst. What are you gonna do with a ribbon?
What are you gonna do with a fan? Like,
Like
yeah,
if the
in the
fan had
movie,
like a
but it
the
was
fans need
deflecting.
knives in them.
A real fan would not be able to stop the sword. The sword would just go right through it. I guess not
Yeah,
in this
you're
world. They're
right.
like built different. If they are built different so that the sword can't go through the fan, then I will say the fan is better and the ribbon is the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah. They all
But then
suck.
they go through these training montages with grandma over here,
Mhm.
and they're all using swords now? Like the
Yeah.
majority of their training time is spent everybody on swords, but then when we get to the final battle at the end, Corinne's the one who has the sword and they're all using their other useless
Shitty
weapons.
weapons.
Why
Yeah,
do we
I have a reason for that.
Okay.
I figured that out, but I don't understand why they okay. So the masquerade ball, you're not allowed to bring weapons into the ball.
Right.
So the fans and I guess the slingshot is just so small, they're easily hidden and just kind of like normal, so
I
they're
guess
able
yeah.
to bring them into the ball without like bringing a fucking sword in there.
True.
So that is the reason why they're able to that why they would choose these useless weapons. But I don't know why these weapons in quotes, are hanging on the wall of the musketeers dungeon hideout. Like
Yeah.
that's what makes no sense to me. I could see if like later like they trained with the swords and they got good at using other weapons, crossbows or bow and arrow or whatever, daggers. And then later they were like, "Oh, well, we got to get into the masquerade, but we can't bring weapons. Let's fashion these new weapons that we can kind of smuggle in."
Right.
That would make more sense to me.
That's true.
But
But
instead,
they're training, they pick it from the beginning and it's at the hideout.
yeah, they're like, "Oh yeah, out of all these weapons, I'm definitely gonna choose a fucking ribbon." What?
And then they don't train with it. They train with the swords. How'd they get so good?
Yeah,
How'd they get good immediately at all of these things?
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, they're mostly training with the sword. There's also another part where one of them is using one of the useless, like two of them are using the useless weapons, and then the third one is using a bow and arrow. And then they never use the bow and arrow
Yeah,
again.
because the bow and arrow's not picked at the beginning and then they don't use it later.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. The training montages are really cool though.
Oh yeah, yeah, we get multiple training montages.
Yeah.
It's
Some
great.
good music in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very hype.
Jamming out.
But yeah, I don't understand the I don't understand the weapons at all.
No, that always bothered me. Even when I was younger watching this movie, I'm like, why? Why are they using fans? Why are they using a ribbon? And
When you
even the
have other
slingshot.
options. Yeah,
Yeah,
the slingshot, that's just for like a mischievous child. Like
right, right.
and yeah, it would have made more sense if they were forced into a corner where they had to use that because that's a situation where they need to get into the masquerade ball. But that's not it. They picked those. They looked at that wall of weapons and like, yes, I want that.
That's what I want.
I
Why would you pick that?
I have no idea. They seemingly didn't need any training for it as well.
No, because Grandma was training them with the swords, but not with
But then
the
like
fans.
grandma was showing off what was her name? Like Helena?
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Helene.
Helene? Yeah.
Or something like that. She's like trying to show off how good she is. Spoiler alert, she is very good. That
Yeah.
like kink in her back where she's walking like that is just for show. She is
Mhm.
like super acrobatic. But she's
Oh
like
yeah,
trying
she
to show
just
off and be like,
demolishes.
I'm better than you. Like at one point they throw the fan and it does the boomerang thing and like flies around and then she like skewers it with the sword and it was like, okay, that was cool, I guess. But I mean, even if that boomerang hit the target, that was going to be pointless anyways. That would have just like hit him and like, ow, what? What was that?
Yeah. Oh,
That wasn't an actual like
that was
attack.
right. I just got a little
She just wanted
hit
to
by
show
a
off. She just wanted to show
fan.
how good her like reflexes were.
Yeah. And then like Corinne does her flips because that's what she does everywhere. And
Yep.
then grandma breaks out a flip too.
It's like
It
you're
was
not
great.
special.
Yeah.
I could do this too.
You're not the only one who can flip.
Yeah. It's all
Seriously,
of
you could
us.
do like a drinking game with the amount of times Corinne is
Oh
flipping.
my god.
you'd be
Yeah,
hammered by the
you'd
end,
be
but
under the table. It's constant. She's doing it at
yeah.
the beginning. She's doing it like, yeah, every time she like engages in any sort of like combat or just like anything, she's just flipping.
Yeah, like being a musketeer is like 10% sword play and 90% flip.
How much percent slingshot?
Hmm, you know. How much percent ribbon?
I want to see these like the musketeers that have been like hired on to be the royal guard going into this like dungeon and being like, "Oh yeah, the ribbon, let's go. I'm in."
uh
It's all for the fashion. As one of
yeah.
them said, like the fashion is great on these
Mhm.
musketeers, even if they're not using the fashion like that.
That's all that matters.
Oh, going back to the prince for a second, when he's flying through the air, like they cut the rope and he's like stuck in the air, right?
Oh
He
yeah, he
like
like falls and
he
gets
like
his leg caught
falls
in the
and gets his
ladder.
leg caught in the ladder. How does that hold him for that long? He is like on
Yeah,
that ladder for at least like 5 or 10 minutes.
I know. Yeah, you would think that would break off or something.
Apparently not. Also, it's at this point that he also pulls out the sexism card. Even the
Ugh.
prince.
I know. We thought he was good.
And then Corrine gets all pissed off at him, rightfully so, for being like, "Oh, you can't
Yeah.
be a musketeer." And then later on, it's like it's all water under the bridge at that point.
I guess cuz she proved that she could be a musketeer, but he doesn't like apologize or
Yeah, he
anything.
doesn't he doesn't say like my bad or like, "Oh, you were right"
Oops.
or anything. It's just
Yeah. Mhm. I mean, he wasn't being like mean about it. He was just kind of like ignorant.
this is just the way that the world works, I guess.
Yeah, which also is not great, but
No.
um yeah, he still owes her an apology.
But to get to the final act where they're going to try and bring in swords to kill the prince at this masquerade ball. The musketeers, all of them walking through town, and then they see Philippe bringing in these. No, it wasn't. Was it Philippe or was it
I think
the
it was the
as
eye patch
eye
guy.
patch guy, pirate
Did we
man?
ever get his name?
He's got a name, but I don't think. I guess he has to have said. They have to have said it once.
Yeah, I don't remember.
His name
Secrets.
is Bertram.
Bertram. They definitely didn't say that. I would have remembered that. Bertram.
It is
That's
Bertram.
great. I love that.
According to the wiki. There
Bertram
is
sounds like a fancy gentleman name, not like eye patch evil guy.
eye patch pirate.
Yeah.
So they see this plot to like smuggle in all of these swords and they try and go and prove it. But unfortunately, only one of the crates actually has the weapons in it.
Uh,
All the other crates are just the fake weapons that they're going to be using as part of the event, so they get kicked out. But
mm-hmm.
that's not going to stop them because they
No,
know
no.
all of the secret passageways and have walked through these halls, so they're able to sneak in.
But
But
first, they have to sew 4 new dresses
they
for the
do.
masquerade ball and design weapons, I think, and then teach each other how to dance all in one night.
Yes, Corinne is my tag for this. I am not a good dancer. Neither is she. So she's having to learn how to dance over this like this one night to try and get good enough to be in this ball. That is
Mm-hmm.
my tag.
Nice. Well, she's able to do it.
She is. I don't know how she learned it so quickly
Mm-hmm.
because she was
I'm
also
sure you could
multitasking.
too.
They were like trying to like measure for the dresses while she was dancing, while she was learning how to dance. So
Yeah, that's a
I don't
lot.
know how good she got, but apparently it was good enough to
Yeah,
dance with the
yeah.
prince.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the prince chooses her to dance with too, but he doesn't know who she is because she's
How
got
do
a
they
mask on.
not know? These masks are tiny.
I know. All it covers is like their forehead and around their eyes.
They should have been recognized immediately.
Yeah. Well, you also got to take into account how like all the female characters have the same model, so they do all look the same.
I guess so, but I feel like there's more there. They stick out at least a little bit. And when you're talking about like Monsieur Treville, who sees them at the beginning and tells them to go in, like I feel like you would have to have better skills at that. You're I would assume you have better eyes to like, when
Hmm.
you're protecting the prince from anything that looks suspicious. He did not notice whatsoever.
Yeah, not a very good
And
musketeer,
then
are
and then
you?
eye patch guy just has one over his one eye patch, and it's like you're just selling yourself out right there.
He's got a little Phantom of the Opera mask going
Like
on. It's a
you're the
look.
only one with that. How it's you.
Who
It's
could it
Bertram.
be? Well, I love how they don't recognize Philippe either.
I know.
Like they're in the passageway and he comes around the corner and Bertram's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "No, it's me."
It's me, you moron.
Yeah. It's
No one
like,
recognizes him because he's on the floor dancing with everybody else as he's trying to get close to the prince.
yeah.
And he's not even supposed to be there. So if you kind of like, it's not like, oh, that's not him, whether or not it's him, it's like he was supposed to have left. So
Mhm.
it'd be weird if you saw him there.
Yeah, but no, he's wearing a mask so nobody
Yeah,
can
it's just a
tell.
blank slate.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't see anything.
Um, Also, before the ball starts, the prince is all like, another ball. And then Philippe goes, "Your last." Like, really
Yeah,
evil.
as kid, as prince or whatever.
Like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah, as prince.
it was a very long pause.
Uh-huh. Like, how do these people not know?
And then at the end of that line, he's saying something about how like, oh, I'll always be near the castle. And then the camera
You
just
know.
stays on him as his grin gets more and more evil.
Yeah. I mean, the prince is pretty oblivious, so I'm not surprised he's not picking up on this stuff.
But he just like looks over and it's like, I'll always be near the castle.
Uh-huh.
And like, you
Yeah,
okay
yeah,
over there,
you
Philippe?
know.
Like, all
What's going
right.
on?
Looking a little evil over there.
Yeah, really jazzed to be by the castle.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. When the three four musketeers are being introduced, well, we have an announcer who is announcing people who are coming into the ball, and the girls give fake names, which were
They're
really
really good
good.
fake names.
Yeah, Corrine is Lady Barbecue.
Don't know how that one.
Get it? Get
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Vivica is Duchess Ivana Party.
Ivana Party.
Renee is just Abby Birthday.
How do they not? How do they not see through that one? That one's
Yeah.
pretty noticeable.
And then we got Aramina, Countess Head of Lettuce.
That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, solid. Solid names. Really funny.
I like how Louis is just like he just rolls with it. He's just calling her barbecue like
Yeah,
multiple
he's like,
lines.
tell me more about the barbecue family.
Yeah. Have you been here before?
Yeah, you look so familiar, but you're wearing a mask, so I can't
I've
tell.
never met a barbecue before. What about a lettuce?
About a birthday.
Nothing says blending in like taking the opportunity to throw some corny jokes into your fake name.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to
It's
try
so
and make it
true.
kind of believable. You want to make it like really overtly a joke.
It's all about the jokes with these girls, apparently.
When we get to the fight scene when everything is going down, we also get a fight scene with Brutus
Oh
and
god.
Miette.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So Miette like jumps over Brutus to start and then like penetrates his ass with the sword, and
Yep.
that's all that she does, and then Brutus is on the run immediately through the rest of it. It's kind of
Uh-huh.
uncomfortable.
I didn't like it. I was not a fan.
She
I
just
wish
like
I didn't have to
violates
see
him
that.
and then he's just running away through the rest of the
Yeah.
fight scene.
He's like, "Please, no, no,
Don't
no
do that
more."
again.
Yeah.
How
Yeesh.
far up there did that go?
I don't want to know.
Miette has found the secret weapon.
Yeah, she knows his weakness.
God.
Oy,
And then, of course,
that
they're fighting
that's
everybody else with the useless weapons. So then I guess Corinne grabbed a sword off of
Philippe.
Philippe. Yeah. Because she
Also,
kind
was
of like,
Philippe just gonna like murder the prince in public like
yeah,
that
in cold blood like that.
in front of everybody? That was the plan?
Yeah,
What?
I
How was
don't
he gonna
know.
take the throne after that? And they set up the fireworks to go off at a certain time so people would be distracted. But still, there's so many people in this ballroom. Not everybody's gonna be transfixed by the
Yeah, let's take a
fireworks.
look at this plan here. So he's, yeah, if he's trying to stab him, what what is everybody else doing? Because he's got all of these men, like a ton of dudes that they end up fighting um Corinne and Co later. What was their role in that case? If Philippe was just gonna go and stab him immediately,
Yeah.
like what were they just gonna cause a ruckus and like try and let him
Can,
escape, I guess?
but he wants to be king. He's not gonna be king if he kills the prince.
Does he assume that he like when the fireworks go off, he stabs Louis, hopefully killing him right there, and then he immediately like has his men start to like create a ruckus, and then he escapes hoping that nobody sees him, and then he comes back and was like, "Oh, what's this?"
Oh, right. I forgot that nobody knows who he is because he has the mask
Oh,
on.
that's right. I'm assuming that everybody knows, but everybody's a moron.
That's right. Okay. Okay. So yeah, he could just murder the prince, no problem, because nobody knows that he
Nobody
is
can tell that
there.
it's him. Oh my god.
Okay. Okay. I
We're
see.
thinking too analytical about this. We just have to assume that when the mask comes on, you are nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be anybody. He's just a dude who came in and randomly killed the prince.
Yeah. We don't know who he is.
Okay.
But
Well,
he doesn't get to. He tries to play off this whole attack by all of his men and like takes them into the secret passageways. But then he gets figured out.
oh yeah, when they're in the elevator and Louis like talking about the mechanisms in the elevator and Philippe's like so done.
He's like, I shut you up right now?
Yeah, but then yeah, I don't know how he figures it out, but he realizes
Speaking
what's
of
going on.
those catacomb things, couldn't he have just like, I don't know, killed him right there
Yeah, where was he taking him?
and then like dump the body and be like, in that whole thing, Louis disappeared. Oh no.
Yeah, in the scuffle. Hmm.
But then he had to
Well,
go
then,
and
but
like
then you'd
kill
have
him on
to.
the rooftop.
But yeah, they're on the roof, and then Corinne shows up to save the day.
She
Does
almost
her
gets played
flips.
once. She like loses her sword
Oh
one
yeah.
time, but then she's able to get it back. Louis is able to grab it and throw it back to her. A horrible throw by Louis to give it
Well,
to
he's
her,
not the
but
most
she's able
athletic.
to grab it. And second time's the charm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, like, Go Alexander, the horse, back at the stable, he like fucking kicks a door right into Bertram.
Bertram.
Forgot
Shout out
why
to
Bertram
Bertram.
is there, but
He was just trying to escape, I think.
yeah.
But yes, at the stables, and also Miette chased Brutus there, and he hides in a bucket,
Oh right, he
which is
crawls
great.
into the bucket. Mm-hmm.
He's just like, I can't go out. Miette's gonna violate me again.
Oh God, salt. And then it's happily ever after.
Yeah, we don't know if uh if King is all right with being king now, but he is, I guess.
Yeah, he seems fine with it, and he makes the uh Corinne and Co. Musketeers.
Of course. And
Mm-hmm.
they don't set them up together. Like there is that
Yeah.
that kind of insinuation that there's something there, but then work takes precedent. As a
Mm-hmm.
musketeer, my own drive, my own goals takes over for that. And I like that.
Yeah, me too. I really appreciated that. That the romance was like next to nothing.
Especially because I was wondering how that was going to happen because there was not very much chemistry. I don't think.
Oh,
Not too much. I mean,
no.
there was that time where they like finished each other's quote. They both heard the same quote, like following your
Yeah.
dreams when everyone else says it's impossible, and that was really it. That was the only
Yeah, I
thing that
don't
they had.
I think they're going to realize that they're better as friends.
I hope so.
And then they ride off into the sunset.
And that's it. Three Musketeers. Just like the original
Yeah.
story. Like the dog getting
This
attacked, and then the horse dropping a door on Brutus, or not on
mhm.
Brutus, not on
Bertram.
Bertram. I'm getting them mixed up. They're all the same.
They Yeah, Brutus, Bertram. Oh, speaking of Brutus, um from 12 Dancing Princesses,
That's true.
uh,
Yeah.
we have
Brutus
another
sounded
Brutus.
familiar, the name. Brutus the monkey, the disgusting monkey.
Yeah, they're
From
just
12.
reusing the villain sidekick names.
And they think we'd forget.
No, never forget.
I guess that's a little bit less in your face than like the exact same like copies of the people. I didn't see that many of those here. Besides the friends, but
No.
that's in universe.
Yeah, it's
Like any
supposed to
of
be.
the NPCs,
Yeah.
I didn't
I
really
didn't
notice many
notice.
of them.
No.
So maybe the budget's going up.
Yeah, it could
I
be.
don't know.
This one we got bloopers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. They weren't that exciting, unfortunately.
Dang.
We we had some silly things with Miette, like
Of course.
she was in a mini hot air balloon. Really funny. There was a chase scene with the dog where they like ate shit.
They have to have that in every single one.
They do. It's mandatory. The best part was do you remember in the Princess and the Pauper bloopers when Julian starts like breakdancing?
Yeah.
They did that again, but with
Yes.
the prince. It was great.
I didn't know he had such good moves.
Yeah, yeah, he was breaking them out at the ball.
Dang.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Somebody
It was really
gets
funny.
tangled up in a ribbon,
Yep.
like the violin bow crashes into shit. The girls get like bucked off their horses in the end.
So top quality bloopers.
Yeah, I mean my favorite was the
The breakdance.
breakdancing
Yeah.
callback.
The
Yeah.
callback. That's what it was. They
Yeah.
definitely remembered instead of being like, wow, let's just have him breakdance right here. Was there any phones or anything?
No phones.
That's
Yeah,
surprising.
those are always good.
Yeah, breakdancing or the phones
Uh-huh.
is always
Yeah.
the
So
classic blooper.
somewhat disappointing bloopers, but I'm still glad that they were included.
Rather have them than not.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any trivia from the wiki?
Let's take a look at some of these trivia. Apparently, Tim Curry also played of the villain in the live action version of the Three Musketeers by Disney. So he was just like, I'll
Oh.
just do this again.
Maybe that's why he just like really relates to the character, or because I'm sure Philippe is in the Three Musketeers live action.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a different character,
Ah,
but a
okay.
villain. On the
Okay.
official website, I don't think this is still up. Alexander is called Henry.
What? They
They
changed his
changed that
name?
late, I guess. They just changed it at the last minute. And then there's another one. I checked this and it's true. In one of the trailers, there's a couple of trailers. One of them is way earlier on. It's a lot less detailed and it's kind of hard to like see things because it's 144p way back in old like 2009 that this was posted on YouTube. But Vivica is called Trista. They changed the
Interesting.
names.
Why would they change it?
Yeah, I don't know. They also have different dresses and ball gowns. And the trailers use different character models for some of them.
Huh.
Like for Aramina's is Melody from Barbie and the Diamond Castle. Just looks like her.
Oh,
Like, I guess
weird.
this is just like maybe early on they hadn't designed it all yet. And so like let's just because they reuse character models all the
Oh
time. Like they
yeah.
can just drop these characters in.
She's just a placeholder.
But then the other ones kind of make sense because it's Teresa and Nikki, like the actual characters that are in there.
Yeah.
But then Melody wasn't anybody specifically, right? She wasn't one of the friends, was she?
Not that I know of. I don't think so. Because Teresa
Is the
was
yeah.
the main character, but yeah, I don't think Melody was played by a friend.
Maybe they decided on that later.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first Barbie movie starring all of Barbie's friends, Teresa,
All of
Nikki,
them?
and Summer,
I thought
together.
she had more friends than that.
I guess this is specifically these three friends together
Oh, okay.
because
Never
Summer
mind.
was in Magic of Pegasus, Teresa was in Diamond Castle, and Nikki was in Christmas Carol. So they've all been there
Wow, the dream
separately.
team. Mm-hmm.
For some goofs, let's see. When Corrine first arrives at the ball, she has her hair down. Then it becomes a bun when she changes into her musketeer outfit.
Oh,
She just
the
changed her hair like on the spot.
the magic of musketeers.
Yeah, very quick. And then when Aramina transforms into a musketeer, the gem in the middle of her necklace is missing.
Oh,
It's just
fall
gone.
off.
She just lost that during the transformation.
Hmm.
And that's it for the goofs.
Wow. Otherwise flawless.
Yeah, a flawless film. So good.
I'd say
So,
so.
yeah, honestly, it actually is pretty good. We settled on an A for this one. Not the
Yeah.
peak of Barbie movies, but I feel like this one was quite quality. A
Yeah, it
non
was.
a not super annoying animal sidekick, good songs, Tim Curry's in it.
Yeah.
Like
Girl power, friendship, the romance wasn't really a thing. The animals weren't that annoying. Well, Brutus was
Brutus was
terrifying, but
gross. But not as
yeah.
gross as other ones. Old Brutus I hated more, I think.
Monkey Brutus.
Yeah, it's really annoying with all of his like
Yeah.
laughing. This Brutus wasn't as bad.
Yeah. And we got so many flips.
We did. Got so many good weapons.
Well, define good.
For Phillipe, the main villain, Tim Curry, I don't think he is as charismatic as Mouse King, who we gave an S, but it is
Hmm.
Tim Curry. So we settled on an A for this one. I
Yeah,
think
like he
that's
still kills it. He's still such a good
he's
villain. He's got
he
the
is
laugh, he's
yeah.
got the look, is
Tim
so
Curry is
good.
just so naturally a villain. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. Like he just talks and it's like villain.
Yep. So we couldn't give him anything less than an A.
His plan was a little bit odd though.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
I guess he knew this universe where the if you put on the mask you're just invisible.
I guess.
He knows the limits of this universe. And then Miette, pleasantly surprised by Miette.
Yeah,
She wasn't
yeah.
in the movie a whole lot, which definitely helps.
Yeah, she kind of got kicked out of the castle for a while, so we didn't see her for a good chunk of the movie, which was nice.
Yeah.
But even
And
when
even
she
when
was on screen,
yeah.
she wasn't that bad.
Yeah. I was expecting her to be a lot more annoying.
Yeah. She just had
Maybe
her whole
she
thing
was
about being
ground
a
like
musketeer.
she became more grounded by Alexander. I love Alexander. Just
Oh
like
yeah,
the
Alexander
old
is
wise
A.
sage.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
I
he
loved
can
his
he
voice
can
actor too.
he can rein in Miette's weirdness.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as talking animal sidekicks go, I think this is about as good as it gets.
Yeah. Well, Princess and the Pauper had some good ones.
Yeah, but then they had the didn't they like have kids at the end? And it was
Oh.
weird.
Yeah, you're right. Forgot about that. Tried to block that out.
When there's the romance between
Oh.
the animal sidekicks,
Yeah, that's
it's
not
a
my
little
favorite.
unfortunate. But
You're right.
eh. But Miette was pleasantly surprising.
Mhm.
And this is basically the last of the this is a different classic. This is not the classic that the Mattel is saying that it is, but this is the last of basically the classic Barbie movies
Yeah.
because what we're getting into next and what Barbie plugged at the end of her interview with Leah Weathersby on Amazon.com is Barbie in a Mermaid Tale, which is the next one that we're going to be looking at. And this one is, I feel like, the transition to the newer modern Barbie movies, where it's like a lot of the time, like it's set in Malibu or set with the actual Barbie. We haven't gotten to the point where she's changed voice actors yet, but I feel like this is the first big change to a more modern interpretation of these movies.
Yeah, it's got a different feel to it for sure.
But we're getting into a second golden age here.
Yes.
Obviously, the
Oh
classic
yeah.
movies are great, but this run of movies that we've got here, we've got Mermaid Tale, Fashion Fairy Tale, Fairy Secret, Charm School, Perfect Christmas. Like it's like banger
Oh,
after banger for the next like 6 months of this show. So
for real. They just don't miss.
I'm super excited. It's gonna be good. These are
Yeah.
there's some quality movies. The only sad thing is there's no more Tim Curry. That was a
Ah,
thing that we could look forward to going through these earlier movies that we get back to another Tim Curry villain. There has not been another one since, which is
it's a real shame.
very sad.
Hmm.
But he killed it in the two movies he was in,
Yeah,
and I'll take that.
I'll miss him.
So that wraps up this month's meeting of the Barbie Council. New episodes released on the first of every month. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you get your podcasts. And make sure to follow us on your podcast service of choice so you never miss out on any new episode. And we're also on YouTube at the Barbie Council. There you can watch the video version of the podcast launching alongside the audio version every month. Spotify also has the video version of the podcast if that's something that you want to check out. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Spotify and your podcast service of choice to be notified of each episode.
If you want to follow our podcast on social media, we're at Barbie Council on Instagram, and our email is thebarbiecouncil@gmail.com.
So until next month, when we take a look at Barbie and a Mermaid Tale, meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.